So we just got done with the transplant initial evaluation at the University of Utah, and it was a good experience. What did you think?
Yeah, it was good. They were very efficient. It took, what, 3 hours?
Yes.
But it actually didn't feel like 3 hours. It was like, but it was interesting because everyone just like, we met with probably like 6, 7 people.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 people. And they just kept coming in, asking me like basically the same questions. And they left. The next person came in, asked me the same questions. And yeah.
I think it could have been slightly more efficient if they all just sat there while we answered the same questions. But
that's true.
But they had slightly different things to ask about each person. And so we just sat in that room, and they each came in. We met with a surgeon, or the PA for surgery.
The surgeon came in.
Did he? The surgeon actually?
Yeah, the lady was the surgeon.
No.
It was a nephrologist.
2 nephrologists, a medical assistant, the transplant coordinator, the pharmacist, and that's it. Anyway, it was really good. I think it can pretty much be summarized by what one of the nephrologists said, which was, at this point, you're probably wondering why anybody would get a transplant, because it sounds so terrible.
Why, though. You gotta say why.
And she was right. It did sound terrible. Mostly because of the ways that your life changed after.
Well, just because you're more susceptible to like
because you're on immune suppressants for the rest of your life.
Getting cancer, all those kind of things.
So you have a higher risk of any disease, but also cancers, and there's a lot of things you can't eat or take because they interact with these medications.
Herbal supplements.
No herbal supplements, and you know me and my herbs. There's no, you can't have like grapefruit or pomegranate, or you have to be careful eating even like sushi because there's a...
So we're going to go binge on sushi for the next however long.
Anyway, it's like quite a process, and that's assuming everything goes well with the surgery, which there's no guarantee it actually goes well. So
yeah, but I mean, it's like they have to tell you that.
But I mean, it's a pretty good chance. It's a pretty high.
Yeah, it's like 97% success rate or something like that.
Yeah, it's a 97% success after a year. At a year, right?
Yeah, the first year is 97%. The second year is like 93%. And the third year is like 87%.
So it's pretty good, but it's not 100%. Anyway, we felt grateful that he hasn't done drugs or like.
Because that's one thing they all asked. If you've ever smoked, if you ever drinking, if you ever done drugs, any intravenous drugs. Cocaine.
They asked like 1,000 different ways if he's done drugs, and he's like, no, I've never done any. Like, you don't need to ask this question anymore. Anyway, it was very useful because that could discount him from the transplant process, just because it interacts with the medication. So they were evaluating today.
Right? Even if you've ever done it,
yeah,
it'll interact with it years and years and years later.
Yeah. So what they're trying to do today was to figure out whether he is a good candidate for transplant. And so tomorrow they'll go and they'll have like a meeting where they discuss all the different people they met with and whether that person is fit for surgery. Like, they think that they would survive the surgery and that the transplant would be able to stick and that they would be able to handle immune suppressant medications for their life. And there's a few things going for him in that way. First of all, he's young and otherwise healthy besides this autoimmune disease. And also, he doesn't have a family history of cancers, which is really good. Because if cancer runs in your family, then you really don't want to be on these immune suppressants. And so overall, they said that he looks like a really great candidate for surgery, and they don't see any problems. So the next step after that is that they'll contact us and let us know the the results of that meeting. And then
we also did blood stuff.
Yeah, so we'll get to hear back about the blood draws also. But then we get to start taking information of people who are interested in donating. So we'll post a link for anybody who's feeling very interested.
Is this going up online?
Huh?
Is this going to go on somewhere?
Maybe.
Oh. Where's
Oh, also, of course, Ilya wore his BYU hat to the University of Utah Hospital. And for all of our friends and family outside of Utah, you don't know this, but that's like a huge rivalry. Huge rivalry. And Ilya said it was a really important statement he needed to make.
I had to represent the belly of the beast.
Nobody commented on it at all, except for the transplant coordinator who walked in and said, "I see you're wearing the right hat," which obviously he's now Ilya's
Hopefully that
person.
scores me a few points. Got somebody else, but then he did say that the rest of the people were all. He's like, no one else will agree with
Yeah,
that.
no one else will appreciate that. Anyway, I think that's it. Anything else? How are you feeling about getting a transplant?
Well, I'm feeling good about it because that's the only option. It's not like I have another option. It's not like I can go do something different. So it's my only option. So I guess I'm okay with it. But I think
we'll make another video about that discussion.
I think the biggest thing is just all of the, like the precautions that you have to take afterwards. I mean, I watched the videos and all that kind of stuff, but like, I don't know. I guess it was a little bit more real now that I've like they said, never ever ever go outside without putting sunscreen on. Like that's just another thing to add to the routine, which is a small thing, but like things like that, right? Like, gotta be more conscious of like kind of like COVID protocols, but for the rest of my life, basically, which would be interesting. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking.
Peace.